Dave, thanks so much. I'd like to welcome the audience who watched the Military Bowl this afternoon. And we welcome you to Orlando and our Russell Athletic Bowl. Chris Johnson, the Baylor quarterback, in his second start, he suffered a concussion against Texas in the first quarter, did not come back to that game. In the second half of Baylor's win at Oklahoma State, he threw for 138 yards, totaled 3 touchdowns on the season, 15 for 38, 220 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 picks.
Of course, Seth Russell, the starter who was playing wonderfully well until the Iowa State game, broke a bone in his neck, is out, and Jarrett Stidham broke a bone in his foot. Both of those guys out, and Johnson, you mentioned, was concussed in that first quarter against Texas, so he didn't even get a full rep at the quarterback then. They had to bring in a wide receiver, Lynx Hawthorne, to play quarterback, and he'll be the second string quarterback. That's Hawthorne in this game.
Jefferson keeps his balance, takes it all the way out to the 42 for a first down. You'll probably see Johnny Jefferson play the Wildcat spot as well as the tailback.
Yeah, before we got the full audience, I mentioned all the people that are out for Baylor. We just mentioned the quarterback, Shock Linwood, the top receiver, out for Baylor as well.
This one is overthrown, intended for Chris Platt.
Well, and the list goes on. Corey Coleman, of course, who was the top receiver in college football, won the Fred Biletnikoff Award as such. He decided to have sports hernia surgery after the regular season ended. It was bothering him at the end of the season. He'll go to the NFL. Should be healthy after that surgery. But Coleman out, Shock Linwood, the top receiver, or top running back, and the 2 top quarterbacks not here for Baylor.
Lynx Hawthorne, the backup quarterback, the backup kick returner, the backup wide receiver, and now the Wildcat man turns the corner. Got to wear multiple hats now.
Well, with Art Briles' background, he played at the University of Houston, and they ran the veer there. And even though it's a spread hurry up, and that's his son Kendall, who's the offensive coordinator, they run the ball a lot between the tackles. It's a power run game.
And Hawthorne goes inside the 40.
When we were talking to Briles about his offense, he said, we're always going to go fast. We're probably always going to snap it more than any other team, but we will always have a power inside run game. And that's what you're seeing now with a good veteran offensive line and really struggling at the quarterback spot, moving the ball nicely on their first drive.
Johnson. And flying up from the corner, Des Lawrence.
And you know, 4th and 10, this is actually a place where you could go for it for Baylor, and here they go. We'll take a look at Johnson not having anything downfield, good coverage, but Baylor now on 4th and inside of 10 deciding to go for it. Don't be surprised with a quarterback draw here, but I like this because if you punt it, goes in the end zone, there's no change in the field.
That's a backward pass, and Chafin can't get anything out of it. They'll turn it over on downs. Good play by Dominic Green, the number 26, the safety, who wouldn't let him turn the corner.
Well, first-year defensive coordinator Gene Chizik for North Carolina has done an amazing job. This defense has the most improved in the country from last year to this year, and that's a 4th and 9, and you get off the field. Look at Chizik standing up with the glasses on the nose there. Of course, former head coach at Auburn, won a national championship there in 2010 before being let go after the next season where they only won 3 games, kind of a head scratcher.
He discovered that being in broadcasting was too easy, so he got back into coaching.
2 years in the booth, and his old friend Larry Fedora called. He turned him down the first time he called.
Marquise Williams, the quarterback, little option look. He'll keep and get 2. Williams comes in with responsible for 94 career touchdowns. That is a Tar Heel record. The senior quarterback has accumulated more than 10,000 total yards in his career. That's 5th in the ACC annals. And this season, almost 3,700 total yards, which is 2nd in North Carolina history to his own record. Comes out throwing on 2nd down, and the strike to Quinshad Davis, who makes his 50th catch of the season. The young man playing with rods in both of his legs.
Key throw there. 3rd and short, expect a run here from North Carolina, but Marquise Williams did not play well in the throw game in the ACC championship game, so nice for him to get an easy throw that was on target. Now you'd expect an inside run maybe with Hood.
Draws a double team every time. Pressure. Williams steps up and throws complete inside the 35-yard line. A beautiful pass that time to Mac Hollins, a gain of 18. Oakman had him and let him go.
Well, this is where a guy like Williams really helps you out, because that was just a beat to the inside by Oakman on the left tackle. I cannot say enough how important it is for North Carolina that the accuracy for Williams is there tonight. He said keep the pass game relevant. He feels like he's in a better motion.
Just a stride too far for Hollins, who had a step.
Boy, that looked all to the world like Hollins was going to be able to run under that.
Sure did.
When this ball was let go, and Williams really struggled at times in the throw game this year. Excellent job working one-on-one with the best corner, Howard, from Baylor. But Hollins, who has a good long stride, just not able to run through it.
If he lays out,
he might have
had a shot.
Yeah.
Keeper by Williams. Excellent fake. Gets all the way to the 22-yard line. You know, and that's really where he does most of his damage.
All the defensive coordinators, it was interesting, we were talking to Gene Chizik, the defense coordinator for North Carolina. He hadn't coordinated a defense since 2005 when he was the coordinator for Mac Brown at Texas when they won the national championship. And he said in those 10 years, the inside run game for the quarterback, especially inside the 25-yard line, has been the biggest change.
Logan for a couple.
And even with Baylor, with a lot of their offensive stars not at this game, if you're North Carolina, they've slowed the tempo down a little bit. There's not as much hurry up as they used to be. They can control this game. This is an offensive line, most of them recruited by this coaching staff, starting to come together nicely.
Hood and Logan are in there together. The fake is inside, the pass intended for the tight end Brandon Fritz. And another third down for the Heels offense.
And it looked like this was open and a touchdown. Fritz gets contact. Ball was on him just a little early. Nice physical contact by Chance Waz. That was a good job. You can put your hands on someone in college football as long as the ball is not gone. That was good physical defense. 14 at the top is a guy they like in the fade.
Williams again with all day to throw. Tight end Fritz, touchdown. If you've got that much time to throw the ball, you're going to find somebody. No pressure at all on Marquise Williams.
Williams has done a wonderful job moving around, finding guys, moving his eyes. This entire drive, he has looked like a whole different quarterback in the throw game than he was in the ACC championship game, and he had struggles against South Carolina early in the season. He was benched against Delaware. And Mitch Trubisky, a really good-looking backup quarterback who will likely take over starter next year, came in and played well.
Nick Weiler now 63 for 63 on point after. And Fritz gets his fourth touchdown catch of the year from the talented right arm of Marquise Williams. North Carolina goes 69 yards on its opening possession in 13 plays. And puts 7 up against Baylor. Zamora and Platt are deep. Zamora 3 yards in the end zone. He'll take a knee. Chafin takes the direct snap. You will see a whole bunch of players. Johnson, Chafin, Jefferson, and probably Terrence Williams taking shotgun snaps. And this is what this so potent offense has been reduced to.
It's a running game led by a law firm. If you saw the end of the Texas game, it looked like 1950s Veer single wing football, and that's exactly what we're seeing tonight.
If you don't have an accomplished quarterback, and they have two tremendously accomplished quarterbacks who can't play, they're both hurt, then you are restricted to doing something like this. I mean, who has a great third quarterback?
Almost nobody. But what I love here is they're going for it on fourth down again. Keep your foot on the gas. It's a bowl game. We don't have our quarterbacks. Let's make North Carolina defend every play. This is a manageable down and distance. Now they will run. They will throw the ball with Jefferson. Jefferson actually threw the last pass, the Hail Mary attempt against Texas. So you could see a throw here.
But he came in only 15 out of 38. Flanker screen. They'll get the first down and more. Zamora out there, and Jefferson with a good enough arm to sidearm it out there.
He may not have great mechanics, but Jefferson's got himself a little bit of an arm. And now you see, look at the tight spiral. That ball got over there in a hurry. Terrific throw, terrific blocking on the edge. And I love the fact that Art Briles is just laying it all out there. Fourth down, our side of the field. It's manageable. Let's give it a shot. It's a bowl game. We're missing all these guys. Let's have some fun.
Why not? Why punt it?
Yeah.
Straight up the middle for 9 yards for Terrence Williams. His first appearance is a good one. He's 5'11", 6'2", 215, a redshirt freshman, and the fifth different man to take a direct snap so far in this ball game.
You're next, Patrick.
Now, you don't want to stick around for that.
North Carolina does.
Yes.
But this
Talk about improved defense.
And what's hard if you're North Carolina, and you can see their defensive line, and mentioned that Nas Jones was out. He's their best player by far in the middle. There's a lot of hands on hips right now. These guys are starting to get worn out a little bit with this inside run game.
First down. And a touchdown. Lynx Hawthorne. His 11th rush of the year and a Baylor touchdown.
Hawthorne, a guy who was a quarterback in high school but got beat out his senior year, switched to wide receiver, had to start taking snaps at quarterback, and I'm not sure that Hawthorne didn't take a hit on his thigh the way he's walking off there. I've been hit in that spot and had a thigh bruise. The way he's walking looks like he might have got hit in the thigh, and that's not good news. He's their second string quarterback now with both Stidham and Russell out, but he had to start taking snaps at quarterback and going to those meetings.
And he's their primary punt returner. He's a little bit of do everything. Right now, he's the guy who tied North Carolina.
Texas Tech, where Art Briles got his start in the college ranks. He was, of course, a supremely successful high school coach in the state of Texas. He was hired by Mike Leach as a running backs coach when he first took the job at Texas Tech. So good roots for Briles. That's how he got his start in college, and of course became the head coach at Houston, where he had played, and now has built a top 10 program at Baylor. You never would have thought it.
And this one will sail out of the end zone. Hood was the motion man. Williams keeps and gets to the 45. Doug Rhodes, former ACC coordinator, official. Should that have been better called as holding than interference, do you think?
Well, like Ed said, it could be either one. There was a hold earlier. Holding is holding regardless of whether it's catchable. But in that case, the rule says when in question, it's catchable, and I think that's correct.
Well, and if he didn't obstruct him, he may have been able to get much closer to that ball.
Correct.
As well.
You have to assume he could have gotten to it.
Yeah.
Hood on the toss. I wish, Doug, that they would just take the uncatchable thing and do away with it, because so many times the contact makes it uncatchable.
Correct, and that is a huge judgment for those deep officials.
Yes.
You know, is it catchable? Trying to rule on that.
Yeah. Well, they may get a chance here. Third and long, they might get a deep one to judge.
Another chance.
But Baylor defensively is playing really well up front right now and in the secondary. And Williams, who's had his problems throwing the ball, being challenged to throw it.
Here comes pressure. Williams goes underneath, settles for the short gain. They'll bring up a fourth down. Xavier Howard on the coverage of Bug Howard.
Taylor Young coming off the edge, and Williams not able to step up into the pocket, but he's, you know, you're coming on 3rd and 7 to the underneath drag. If he steps up in, that's a 2-yard route. You've got to hit him right in stride. He's got to outrun the defender. But if Williams is able to step up, he had men open beyond the sticks.
Lynx Hawthorne is deep for Mangilli's punt. Fair catch made at the 15, 37-yard kick. Jefferson. Jefferson showing his speed across midfield into Tar Heel territory. 40 yards for Johnny Jefferson out of Killeen, Texas. What a burst.
Well, if you're just joining us, Shock Linwood, who holds the Baylor record for freshman rushers, the Baylor record for sophomore rushers, the Baylor record for junior rushers, is not with us today because of a foot injury he suffered against Texas. And so Jefferson and Williams and Lynx Hawthorne coming in as a second quarterback / runner. Bunch of different guys touching the ball with Russell and Stidham, first and second string quarterbacks out.
Jefferson now 83 yards on 6 carries in the first quarter. He says, get another number we can call.
Yeah. Get a blow, coach? Yeah, you're not coming out of a bowl game if it's going this well.
No, we'll tell you when you're tired. Jefferson, a little jump pass, had it batted down, and he was looking for Gus Penning, the tight end, who tried to sneak behind the linebackers.
Penning moved up in the depth when we're talking about guys not here. Trevon Armstead, the starting tight end, was dismissed earlier in the season, so even some depth issues there, but good defense by North Carolina.
I think somebody down there with a magic marker is crossing that play off. We're not going to see that one.
I bet you we see a jump pass in the goal line before this is over. The way they're running this offense, I think you have to have it in there. It's just Jefferson has to jump a little higher before he throws it next time. You have to do the jump before the pass.
Ah, I see.
And here's where you could take a throw down the field, by the way. You're going for it on 4th.
Hawthorne. Nice cut. Lynx Hawthorne. Out of bounds at the 2. Devin Chafin gave him a great block. And how can you go against a guy named Lynx?
And remember, on the touchdown he scored, it looked like he may have banged his right thigh or hip. Boy, that is a nice block, but that cut right there on Donnie Miles, and then just trying to outrun the other safety, Dominique Green. But this is a guy who, yeah, he's the second string quarterback. There's the out of bounds, but he's a 4.40 and has a great first and second step, and now we see a nice change of direction.
He's lucky he stepped out of bounds, because the way he threw that ball forward, he'd have lost it. Just a blocker this time, and Chafin dives into the end zone. Every time you see McGowan, you start to assume they're going to go that way. Why not?
How fun is this to watch a coaching staff like Baylor, and give the whole entire offensive staff, you know, everyone talks so much about Art, but his son Kendall, a really good up-and-coming young coach, now the offensive coordinator, took over for Philip Montgomery, who went on over to Tulsa last year from the OC, but as the offensive coordinator. But this staff, Art Briles kept talking about how this was an inspiration to try to play without these guys, and you feel it. They've got 14 on the board, and we're not even out of the first quarter, and their 4 best players are not playing.
Callahan has made 112 straight extra points. A great block by Gus Penning, leaving Devin Chafin into the end zone. Of course, I'm easily impressed.
Well, if you're tuning in and seeing that 14 for Baylor, you think, oh, that's just normal. They score a lot. Well, they don't have their top 2 quarterbacks or the Biletnikoff winning wide receiver or their 1,300 rushing yard running back. But yet they're still manufacturing a pretty nice offense.
Francis on the return for the Heels. Francis has the seam, looks for another block. Lost the ball, but it's out of bounds. North Carolina will maintain possession. So good break for Carolina. Hood, only a couple, thrown back by a gang tackle. What a first quarter between North Carolina and Baylor. The Bears on the ground have a 7-point lead over North Carolina into the first 15 minutes. Hood, his running back, as they start from the Baylor 39. Williams off target there, intended for Mac Hollins, who averages a startling 25.5 yards a catch.
And a little change in play calling. Seth Luttrell, who was calling the plays at North Carolina, took the head coaching job at North Texas. And so the coaches have kind of moved that around. Co-offensive coordinator Gunnar Brewer, of course, involved, but Keith Heckendorf, who serves as the quarterback's coach, is upstairs, and he's the guy who's actually calling the offensive plays today for North Carolina.
Little pressure coming at the end here as Williams throws for the sideline and throws complete to Quinshaw Davis. That'll be enough for a first down. And sometimes you look at Marquise Williams and you go, boy, isn't he good? Then he'll throw 3 or 4 passes that aren't even close.
He just struggles in the department of consistency, and when you study it, it's a lot of his feet. He doesn't trust stepping into his throw all the time. He has a little habit of falling backwards. But he's a dynamic athlete, obviously great in the run game, and when he can make people miss like we saw in the drive recap, that's always helpful.
Fakes to Hood, moves out of the pocket. Throws underneath to Elijah Hood.
And here's a look at Keith Heckendorf, who went away for a year, came back as the quarterback's coach, so his second stint here at North Carolina under Larry Fedora. But he has called plays before at Western Carolina, and so there will be a hire on the staff. Not sure who's going to be elevated to play caller, but with Seth Luttrell on to be a head coach, that's 2 coordinators in a row from Larry Fedora's staff going on to be head coaches.
Williams again, nice strike this time inside the 15-yard line. And that's Bug Howard, whose given name is Jonathan.
6'4", 215 pounds. They have a lot of size on the outside as they get closer here. Inside run game with the quarterback and Hood, and throws to the outside.
Hood stops shy of the 10-yard line.
There's nothing like the view from the blimp. If you're going to study film, there is no better angle than directly above the field. Nice, you can see the transfer of weight stepping into it. That's a pretty nice shot.
You got to like so far what the Baylor defense has done and give Phil Bennett credit. He says we play so many more snaps because of our offense than other people. Judge us on things like points per possession, where we're number 4 in the country. And he's got a valid point. Williams, little swing and incomplete. Right in the hands of Austin Prohl. And if your last name's Prohl, you got to catch it.
Yeah, Ricky Prohl is his father, who played 17 years in the NFL. And you could see the younger Prohl there. He was looking at his block. Just that one split second. Took his eye off it and looked like he may have had a block.
You played with his dad. He was one of the best ever as far as hands.
4 years and only remember 1 drop from his father that I recall.
That may be Austin's last one. Williams just tripped up, had a chance to get to the outside, and tripped up by Avion Edwards, who had him by the ankle and will force a field goal try. Big play by Edwards.
Edwards doing an excellent job. He's the spy, making sure when Williams drops back, he's got to keep his eyes on the quarterback. That's terrific. Close the distance, and Williams still almost snuck out of that.
Boy, if he doesn't get him, it's a big play. Weiler, who has had a terrific year. This team only made 5 of 8 field goals last year with Weiler. This year, he's 19 of 22. Now make it 20 of 23. That was a 32-yard effort to cut the lead to 4. Both teams doing very, very well on offense so far. Zamora and Platt are deep for Baylor. Kick is blasted out of the end zone. And once again, this wildcat formation. This is Terrence Williams.
Let's call it the
Art
Bear
Briles is doing everything he can to produce an offense.
Let's change it to the Bearcat for the Baylor Bears tonight. We'll call it the Bearcat.
Okay.
The Briles cat.
Stop while you're ahead. Chafin across midfield down to about the 48. McGowan, the 410-pound tight end, throws a block. And here are the players that have taken direct snaps. Hawthorne, Chris Johnson, who started at quarterback, quote unquote. Terrence Williams, Johnny Jefferson, who's had the most success back there, and Devin Chafin. I think they're probably out right now.
Laquan McGowan, the former 400-pound offensive lineman who was moved to current fullback at 400 pounds.
Oh,
it's a little unfair going one-on-one against Jeff Schottmer, the middle linebacker. Schottmer does his thing, but it's not enough.
Jefferson near the 10. Still laughing about McGowan. He does open holes, doesn't he?
Athletic enough to move around. But Art Briles, he talks all the time. He said, you know, we're going to go fast, but we're always going to be one of the best running teams in the conference, and we're going to do it running between the tackles. So even though they've had to pare down their offense, almost no throw game down the field, they do this stuff a lot. Even when they have the quarterbacks, even when they have who they want, they're running this type of offense enough that this isn't all new stuff. They're just having to do more of the inside run, more of the Bearcat, we're going to call it for the rest of the night. But they're used to doing this stuff a lot.
First down just outside the 10. Jefferson fakes a look at a throw. Jefferson up the middle. Touchdown. Nice block by Spencer Drango, the offensive lineman of the year in the Big 12. Big number 58 from his left tackle spot. First team Walter Camp All-American gets the block.
Well, here's Drango. We saw McGowan get a nice block in space before. Terrific job. And the middle linebacker Schottmer, because he's got to go over to the side where he was just blocked, a little late getting over there. But this offense is pretty neat.
Good luck as a safety if you're 190 pounds and you have to stand in there against a 320-pound tackle who's got a beat on you.
And showed some nifty feet, too.
How about this for the Baylor Bears? We don't need a quarterback. We can score on anybody, anyway. The Heels are going to get the ball back with 9:35 to go first half. Francis and Logan are deep. Logan takes it on the hop at the 5. Runs into traffic at the 20 and dives forward. Williams. Got to think that Baylor defense is really inspired by what the offense is doing.
Yeah, and totally rested. Edwards does another nice job. He seems to be the guy. And be careful there coming in late to clean that up. But Edwards seems to be the guy who is mirroring number 12 and doing a nice job of it. But you mentioned they have to feel good about that offense. They were over there relaxed a little bit. I hope their hamstrings are stretched out.
Logan, the running back. Williams retreating all the way to the 1-yard line. Throws it toward the 30, and that is a complete pass.
It's got to drive you nuts.
Nice job by Quinshad Davis to come back and get it.
And if you're Phil Bennett, the defensive coordinator, you had two guys beat offensive linemen up front. They can't get him.
And credit Williams. He threw that where only his guy was going to get it.
3rd and short. You suspect that this would be a run. Maybe Elijah Hood, who's a good inside runner, but this is also an opportunity to maybe let one go down the middle of the field.
Hood is the big back. He'll go out in the flat. Williams throws over the middle to his tight end Fritz, and he's got enough for the first down. Brandon Fritz, a good target at 6'4", 245, slow to get up. And wobbly. Williams with time, wants to go deep, throws it up for grabs, and it's picked off by Edwards. Avion Edwards. Check it, Ryan Stewart, 28, not 20. And Stewart's back to the 33-yard line. Perhaps his receiver stopped, broke off the route. Williams doesn't know that when he throws it. It's not his fault.
And you could see Larry Fedora right there yelling at Switzer for coming off his route. Definitely going to the post over the top. He comes back and he saw it, and Switzer had just completely stopped his route. What you hope is if he continues, at least he could play defense on this ball. But, boy, yeah, he just stopped. He just thought the play was over and came off of his route. There was two guys there, so he probably thought, no way the ball's coming my way.
But you still can't quit because
finish.
That's what happens.
And Fedora, who was a wide receiver himself at Austin College, he's a native of Texas.
And that interception will go down on the record of Marquise Williams, but not his fault.
Well, Switzer would have had to make a nice breakup to stop it.
Jefferson, incomplete. Had a receiver out there, Davion Hall, and Hall was looking where he was going rather than trying to take the ball in. Baylor, 25 turnovers forced this year. That's 19th in big-time college football.
And it's Phil Bennett in the yellow shirt, longtime defensive coordinator. It's a former player at Texas A&M.
2nd and a mile now. Carried by Terrence Williams.
Williams, a guy who has really benefited from the strength and conditioning program here at Baylor, which is just, by all accounts, a world-class program.
Williams again on 3rd and 9, slipped a tackle inside the 40. 35, tries to spin out of another one. Finally dragged down by Des Lawrence, but a terrific run on 3rd and 9 for a first down, and they are just crushing the heels up front.
There is no penetration. The white jerseys are just stuck to green jerseys. And I was mentioning the improvement that Williams has made in the strength and conditioning program under Kaz Kazadi, the head strength coach. He has lowered his 40 time from 4.68 to 4.42.
Loose ball. North Carolina recovers.
They're calling incomplete pass.
Jeremiah Clark, who was hurt earlier, got on top of the ball. They're saying it was a forward pass.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, it's crazy, though, that you would think everyone in the world on defense is thinking, get that ball, but excellent officiating.
Well, depending on your angle, it looked like a handoff.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. And if he hadn't have flipped the ball but handed it and they mishandled the handoff, then it would have been a fumble. But because of the flip, it becomes a pass.
2nd and 10. Hawthorne dragged down back at the 37-yard line. Shaquille Rashad. This is a big stand for North Carolina.
That's what I was just going to say. This is a big down right here to try to hold these guys to a field goal. But if you're Baylor, they've been going for everything inside 4th and 5, so they don't have to pick it all up here. Is there something they can get on Gene Chiswick's defense that gets them 7 or 8 and lets them go for it on 4th? Johnson, not a good intermediate thrower. He has trouble with the short game. Ball doesn't come out quickly. So in the throw game, if they're going to throw anything, typically here, it might be a longer throw to the outside.
Feuerbauer is in there as an extra blocker. Williams throws, and is it inbounds? It is.
And not sure that you're kicking a field goal here.
That was K.D. Cannon, by the way, who was their leading receiver with Corey Coleman out.
This is a down and distance. Looks like he controlled it through the catch down and distance, where on the yard line, it's a too long field goal for it.
Straight up the middle goes Jefferson. Touchdown, Baylor. And I tell you what, if you go back to that previous play, it looked like the first thing that hit the ground was out of bounds. That should have been an incomplete pass. Spencer Drango again with a block that opened everything up.
This has been a wonderful job. Look at the wash down the right side of that offensive line. Jarrell Braxton just blew up the entire right side of the line. But we'll go back, Mike. We'll take another look at that catch. On first look, to me, it looked like he had control. It's allowed to touch the ground, but it's whether he had control or not.
But I don't think he had, none of his body parts touched in bounds before he landed out of bounds. Well, we'll check it. But right now, Baylor just having its way with North Carolina's defense. Back in Orlando, just a beautiful stretch of weather down here. Temperatures between 75 and 85 degrees since we got here. Baylor with the lead now, 28-10 over North Carolina, and the Heels have to get it going on offense because their defense just hasn't been able to stop the Bears' rushing attack.
If I'm Baylor and they start stumbling, I might start thinking about my 2 timeouts. Keep your foot on the gas. This has been an amazing first half for this depleted offense at Baylor.
Blitz coming, they don't get there, and it's a good thing the pass wasn't a little stronger. That's a pick 6 the other way for Reed.
Reed and Davis having a little conversation there, but Marquise Williams just gets absolutely drilled as he throws the ball, and the clock stops. So you saved Baylor that timeout potentially.
To the outside, T.J. Logan. Big gain for Logan into Baylor territory. Clock will stop temporarily while they move the sticks. Logan more the speed back. Hood is the big power guy.
And that's a huge pickup on 3rd and 1 for North Carolina, if for any other reason, so that they don't give the ball back to a red-hot Baylor.
Williams, good protection this time, unloads, passes underthrown and almost intercepted. Xavier Howard had the best shot at it. Mac Hollins was open, and Williams underthrew him by about 5 yards.
And this was what, in studying the tape, we saw with Williams. Just struggles with the downfield throws. Excellent job by Hollins just to adjust enough to come back and make Howard, who has 5 interceptions on the year, fight for it. But you're right, Hollins had a step, and bad news for Baylor as first team all Big 12 corner Xavier Howard comes off.
And he was named by the coaches. Several teams, of course, everybody wants to pick an all-conference team, but that's the one you want to make the most because they know who the players are. Williams, quarterback draw. Got the first down and more. Heck of a run by Marquise Williams. 20 yards, and they really needed it. Got away from Orion Stewart, who finally pushed him out of bounds.
Well, when things have gone right for North Carolina, it's been with this guy running, and right away you could tell that that was going to be a run. When you see the big body of Landon Turner that far downfield, this was a called quarterback draw. Nice job. Remember, we mentioned Keith Heckendorf now calling plays with Seth Luttrell gone to North Texas.
Plenty of time for them to work. Williams wide open and broken up at the last second. Ryan Switzer was open and just crushed as the ball got there, and there is a flag now.
It's if there is forcible contact to the head or neck area. And that picture there, let's see if there's any forcible contact by any body part by Reed.
That's shoulder to shoulder.
That to me does not look like Reed makes forcible contact.
Nope.
To the helmet of Switzer moves, but it did not look to me like there was forcible contact to Reed in the head or neck area.
If you get drilled like that, everything's going to move.
Right.
There is no foul for targeting on the previous play. As a result, number 9 is not disqualified from the game. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the 29-yard line. Please adjust the game clock to 1 minute, 11 seconds.
As much as officials are rightfully so focused in on targeting and player safety, I think that is an exceptional call by this officiating crew to turn around and say that was not targeting.
And I think what you make a good point. Reed did what he should be doing. He came in with a shoulder instead of trying to blast through the head with his headgear. He also, I'm not sure, Doug, if they would have gotten the targeting, I'm not sure that he actually launched himself into it. So I'm glad that got called
Correct.
off.
It still says when in question, it's a foul.
Yeah.
For the official at full speed, that's when in question.
Yeah.
So 2nd and 10 for Marquise Williams. Pressure coming. Williams runs again. And he's got enough for a first down. Although they mark him back, it looks a little bit back from where he went down. Still a first down.
You got to go fast here. You don't want to burn a lot of clock. Even though you have these 2 timeouts, you want as many plays as you can possibly have to score a touchdown.
Williams again to the end zone. Incomplete. In and out of the hands of Quinshad Davis, and Ryan Reed was there again.
Davis, the guy who caught the touchdown in overtime to beat Frank Beamer and Virginia Tech in Beamer's last game. This time he comes It's that left arm of the defender, Reed, who, if Reed was kicked out, would not have been there. So a good reversal to call for Baylor. But Reed had the left arm in there and was able to knock it out. Good defense.
Looked like Williams was trying a back shoulder throw, and that was a pretty good throw. Hood get about 3 to the 16. They will stop it with a timeout. Still plenty of time left. 49 seconds and 1 timeout that you've still got in your pocket.
What you don't want to do is, I don't think you want to use that timeout for any type of run or anything. I think everything you want to be beyond the sticks or near the sideline from here on out. You may need that for a field goal.
They do not want to go for a field goal. Williams under pressure now. And throws it out of bounds. He almost, now there's a flag down all the way back at the 30-yard line. Another one at the 23.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 2's helmet came off through play, and he continued to participate during the play. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
That is such a difficult rule. Sean Oakman
really
lost his helmet by rule. You are required to stop and not be part of the play anymore, but that goes against every competitive nature in your body.
It is incredibly hard. Well, the helmet was knocked off, and it is lucky that North Carolina didn't get called for a hands to the face, but even then he would have had to have stopped and not continued to play. What a huge break now for North Carolina. What looked like they were going to be backed way up potentially. Now they get a 1st and goal with 40 seconds and a timeout. A lot you can do here, including run the ball if you're North Carolina.
Nice head fake. Dives, touchdown, Tar Heels. Marquise Williams is taking this offense on his back. Trayvon Blanchard went for the fake, skied above Marquise Williams, who ran for the score. That's a gutsy run.
And a break because Sean Oakman had his helmet knocked off. That wasn't called, but because he continued on the play, got the personal foul. Terrific move. He really does have a nice feel. You can see that little shift to the right, gaining some position. The bigger guy at 225 pounds. Good run.
Boy, the Heels needed that. 28-17 makes it an 11-point ball game.
And Art Briles is not happy. I think he's still upset about that helmet call when Oakman was called for a personal foul.
Let's go to Jerry Punch and Coach Briles.
Coach, we could tell a lot of frustration from you on the helmet call from Oakman late in the first half. Why?
I mean, I'd have it offsetting. I mean, you don't just run, your helmet flies off. You know, I mean, to us, the helmet was knocked off, and if he did keep playing, then it's offsetting penalties. That's all I'm saying.
Offensively, this doesn't look like a team that's missing top 2 quarterbacks and best running back and receiver. You know, what do you say about the play of your offense? Already a record in the first half.
Nothing right now. I mean, we got to play the second half, and we got to play better than we played the first half to win.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Coaches with great tunnel vision. You play with who's here, not who isn't. At the half, 28-17. We send you to Reese Davis for the Coke Zero halftime report. Reese. Welcome back to the Russell Athletic Bowl as part of Capital One Bowl Mania. And Baylor in a stunner here in the Russell Athletic Bowl, leading North Carolina 28-17. And I don't know about you, partner. I'm just blown away by what Baylor's been able to do.
And they got to try it out at the end of the Texas game because Chris Johnson was knocked out in the first half with a concussion. So they were able to start working on it. But in the month they had with finals academically, all of the holidays, to be able to put together this type of plan. And these are plays that they run all the time, but almost to go exclusively to an inside or quarterback-based run game is really spectacular. North Carolina is missing their best interior defensive lineman in Nas Jones, out with concussion, has not played all day, and this defensive front is starting to really wear down. That was a big drive for North Carolina at the end of the half. Lucky to get away without the field goal by Baylor once they drove down. So a little bit of momentum. And for Marquise Williams, he gets the ball back to start.
Aren't you surprised that North Carolina has not thrown caution to the wind and just made sure they can stop the run?
Well, that's what they're going to have to do. I think Gene Chizik and Larry Fedora and everybody at halftime, you're going to have to play a little more man-to-man on the outside. Just trust that your secondary can cover and get as many bodies around the line of scrimmage as possible.
Baylor to kick off. This is Mike Hughes on the return. Out to the 25, cut down there. Marquise Williams, 11 of 23 for 96 yards. Did most of his damage, however, in the big plays on the ground. 11 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Missed his last 5 throws, by the way.
We haven't seen a whole bunch. Larry Fedora in the past has run a very fast offense. Not quite as fast this year. They've slowed down on purpose. But let's see if they start using a little more tempo to try to get some of these guys up front. Billings and Palmer and these guys a little worn out for Baylor.
They have gotten very little out of Elijah Hood. Only 7 carries. This pass complete to Hollins, and Mac Hollins is off to the races. 75 yards for Hollins, his 9th touchdown grab of the year. This is a young man who has made big play after big play, averages 25.4 on the season.
Baylor had coverage. Baylor stopped on the play. Hollins just runs an out cut. Boy, that was just a bad safety position by Orion Stewart. Stewart just came way up from his, he jumped an underneath route from his safety position. And Hollins is a guy,
he's out of bounds.
Holy cow. They're bringing this all the way back for his left foot being out of bounds on the 34-yard line. But they've put it on the 41. They've misspotted the ball by 6 yards. I wonder if anybody's picking this up. That was the 34-yard line. They brought it back to the 41. They missed by 5.
Boy, in the replay booth needed to see that one.
Yeah, they should have stopped that. It was the replay. Everyone saw that. We thought for the world it was the touchdown. And
what a crushing disappointment, though.
Yeah. And a big break for Orion Stewart, the safety who took a bad angle from Baylor that Hollins just stepped out and then got the bonus 5 yards by the missed spot.
Yeah, he's telling his teammates that never happened. Don't worry about it. Hood gets a shove from Williams.
Well, he's right.
Takes it out to the 48. Yes, he is. Technically, right. He's right.
But, Coach, he stepped out of bounds.
Big third down here. The Heels have to shake it off. Hood on the toss. 2 defenders waiting for him. Nice job by Hood. Split the 2 Baylor defenders and powered his way to what should be a first down.
And Avion Edwards, who's played really well, got up extremely slow after this hit. He's still kind of wobbling around a little bit. Hood, 230 pounds. And Avion Edwards lowered down and got a big piece of that leg, and he was wobbly when he got up.
Took a knee right in the helmet. Williams down to the 28-yard line. Faked it to Switzer, trying to use his ability to run to make the linebackers go wide and leave Williams more running room up the middle.
Good job by North Carolina after Hollins' touchdown is called back because he was out of bounds, getting refocused and getting this drive going.
Williams short set goes to Davis. Quinshad Davis out of bounds at around the 13-yard line, his 4th catch. Here's Jerry Punch.
Yeah, quickly updating Brandon Fitz, a tight end that was injured in the first half. He's out for the game, concussion. And Ryan Switzer, who caught that pass a moment ago, suffered a laceration in and around his mouth late in the first half. That was addressed in the locker room. He obviously back in the ballgame playing tough.
That was when he took a shot down near the 1-yard line, the one that was originally called targeting. Williams under pressure, just throws a defender out of the way, dumps it underneath to Romar Morris, and Morris may have another first down, and Travion Blanchard missed him.
Boy, Blanchard
had the sack right
he
there.
Sure did. And this is as North Carolina now going fast to the line of scrimmage. Blanchard went to play the ball instead of the man.
Hood has run for 17 touchdowns this year, but instead it's Marquise Williams who fakes it to the big guy and keeps it. So even though they had the big touchdown play called back because the receiver stepped out of bounds, they have enough poise to take it downfield and score, and they're within 4 points with the extra point.
Terrific answer. Good misdirection. Excellent block on the edge there by Kendrick Singleton. Good physical contact. His defender had to freeze. And a good read by Marquise Williams, the quarterback.
Weiler with the point after a 75-yard drive. 9 plays, 3 minutes and 15 seconds. The Heels right back in it. You may not have to donate anything.
Not in today's game. Not with guys like Art Briles coaching. And Larry Fedora, for that matter.
Taken by Platt on the bounce across the 20. And takes it out of bounds to the 24. They come out throwing and get the ball into Carolina territory as Lee makes the grab. Johnson seems to like to throw to his left. He's been very accurate going to that side.
He was a quarterback, and he lost the second string job to Jarrett Stidham. So he moved to wide receiver, and then when Seth Russell went down, moved back to quarterback. So he was. You don't get recruited to Baylor as a quarterback, not at this part of Art Briles' process.
No.
If you can't throw it. So even though this really is, and there's Seth Russell there. You can see he broke a bone in his neck. There's Stidham. Broke a bone in his foot against Oklahoma State. Was hurt against Oklahoma. He hurt his back early in that game. Finished it out. And then was playing really well against Oklahoma State. Broke his foot, and then Chris Johnson had to take over, winning that game, and then stumbled home without a starting quarterback.
Russell and Coleman were quite the combination. Coleman had 20 touchdown catches. Russell threw for 29. They were virtually unstoppable as Baylor was averaging 61 points a game when they were both healthy.
Yeah, it was starting to look like Baylor had a video game type of team earlier in the year. And I think if Russell, as well as he was playing, and some of the pieces they have, if Coleman stayed healthy, again, I think this was a playoff caliber team for sure.
Johnson under pressure. Tries to make a back shoulder throw, and that is going to be an interference call against Des Lawrence. He didn't like the call. It was intended for Cannon, and he and Lawrence are woofing at each other.
15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, Des Lawrence had terrific position on Cannon. He's got to just turn and find that ball just a second earlier, but you can see that right hand. He's got great position. If that right hand doesn't pull the left arm, it's a good call. I think that was clearly pass interference. But not playing the ball is why you get called there. And if Lawrence is able to turn just a half a second earlier and see the ball, and you can see these two guys still jawing at each other.
Well, that's the problem with that trail technique. If you turn a half a second late, you don't know where it is. Chafin cuts it outside. First down and more. Chafin still on his feet inside the 5 to the 3.
And an excellent job by Katie Cannon. Cannon's been out there jawing it up with Lawrence. But look at Cannon with his hands inside. Lawrence does a nice job fighting off and finally making the tackle. But Cannon's right there to tell him, I did a nice job blocking you.
Yeah.
Cannon needs to be careful. If he gets caught one more time, and a lot of times it's swear words. The officials don't want to hear guys cursing at each other. He's got to be careful.
To the goal line, and Williams touchdown. Must have just gotten the point of the ball over the line.
Well, the one thing you notice when you're watching Terrence Williams, he's long. Very long arms, 6'2", and does a wonderful job of fighting to get across. Does not look from that angle like any part of his body is down, but that was a terrific finish by Williams.
Baylor, which has had 95% of their passing game taken away from them because of injuries, just being able to say, okay, we can't pass, we'll run. And Larry Fedora, because of that great streak, had his contract extended by 4 years. So great news for him and his coaching staff. Give them some stability. We've seen it all over the country. Yep. If you don't have stability on your coaching staff, it's very, very difficult to win.
Well, they got a good one. Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director, came in 4 years ago, picked up a little bit of a mess with some of the academic issues that were uncovered at North Carolina, still dealing with that. All of that, of course, under the previous administration and not under this coaching staff. So, as usual, the people left behind left to do what they can, and Larry Fedora has done an amazing job through a change of staff,
really
through
has.
some NCAA investigations that frankly are still ongoing, but they expect to turn out okay. But Fedora has been nothing but positive in growing this program.
Straight up the middle goes Hood, still on his feet looking for a block. Now it's a foot race. Elijah Hood to the 8-yard line. With the skilled players they have, they are never out of a ball game.
I know we're still in this game, and Baylor's playing great, but North Carolina is so impressive to me, and they return, I believe, as many as 20 starters for next year's team. Florida State's going to be really good. Clemson's going to be really good. I think North Carolina next season, those three teams, one of those teams is winning the championship. Don't be surprised if it's these guys.
Williams hands it off to Logan. Logan fighting for yardage, gets inside the 3.
And this
what a great run that was by Hood.
And
67 yards.
We've been talking about the offensive line for Baylor. How about this front for North Carolina? It's been a huge improvement under Fedora.
Logan again, fumbled. It's recovered by Baylor. Avion Edwards, who has had a monster game, made the hit. Now, the only question would be, did he get to the goal line first? It doesn't look like it. The official's still talking about it.
Well, you got the smaller back in Logan. Hood, I would imagine, may be a little tired after that long run. Ball's out. Boy, what a nice tackle by Edwards. That type of tackle, frankly, on the goal line shouldn't cause a fumble. That ball should be tucked away, but just good job. You mentioned the game that Edwards is having, but what an unbelievable turn of events.
That's
all of a sudden,
backbreaker.
Yeah, you're down 11. You're going into score to cut it to 4 or less. Well, we showed earlier that Baylor's defense, one of the best in the country at knocking it free. Phil Bennett starting to get the type of athletes. I haven't covered Baylor, and I think it's been about 6 seasons. It's really impressive, the type of player, the size athletes they've been able to get. This is a completely changed program from when Art Briles took over.
Nice fake by Johnny Jefferson. Look at that speed. Jefferson still on his feet. Touchdown. 80 yards for Johnny Jefferson. And if you thought the fumble was a backbreaker, that one certainly is. Who needs a quarterback? Johnny Jefferson, 259 yards rushing. That's 259. The team has rushed for 535. That's insane.
This is an offense that's averaging just over 600 yards a game because they average 300 pass, 300 run. They're going to get 600 yards rushing today.
Yes, sir.
Well more. I mean, we're not even into the fourth quarter yet. And even if they get ahead enough where they have to run the ball to run out the clock, the way this defense is worn out, I'm not sure they're not going to take a few more to the house.
The fumble set it up.
So everybody is going to read the fake. Jefferson doing a wonderful job taking the direct snap. Everybody goes the wrong way. A good block down the field, and then MJ Stewart, who walks down Jefferson, watch this, goes for the ball instead of the tackle. If he makes the tackle, it would be 1st and goal on about the 8-yard line, which is a tough down and distance. I know Stewart's trying to make a good play here, but this is a teaching moment for a young player, just a sophomore. Go in, sweep the legs, get the guy down at the 7-yard line, and let's play some more defense. You got the Baylor team thinking like they're the marching band, and North Carolina wondering what in the world's going on.
And they'll start at the 25. It's a big-time offense. They're not out of it. There comes Hood. He'll have a first down. Elijah Hood, who rushed for 1,345 yards during the regular season.
Well, there's only one tempo you can go right now if you're North Carolina, and that play clock and, of course, the game clock are the mark of how fast you can go. They changed personnel, so Baylor gets a chance to match up on defense.
Williams throws underneath to Singleton. Now, here's the thing. North Carolina's down 3 scores, but you can't assume they will stop Baylor from scoring any more points the rest of the game either.
I think if you're North Carolina, you got to go fast, you got to score, and then I think you got to start thinking of onside kicks almost right away. Because whether you give them the ball or the 50 or their own 20, it's been about the same.
Williams to Switzer down near the 40. Of course, Baylor doesn't mind the shorter gains. They just don't want to give up the bombs.
This is really something to see Baylor, who really just had their hearts and everything ripped away from them with 2 quarterbacks getting hurt. They may have been the best team in the country, but to see them to scrap together an effort like this against a good opponent in a bowl game.
That's Romar Morris. Well, Ed, to further your point, they lost 3 of the last 4 games after they lost all these skill players. They had to be at a psychological low, but Art Briles isn't going to put up with that. He found a way to motivate these kids to tell them, you have the ability to do this. Let's go get them. For the end zone touchdown. Bug Howard comes through on the outside. And Marquise Williams, you got to hand it to him. He is doing everything he possibly can to bring him back.
Pretty good coverage here by Howard. He even got around. Little hands on the back. You could see Howard there, and it is impossible for the official. He can't see through the receiver. So if the receiver's hands are down, he gets a little bit of a push there. That's good technique. If the official saw it, he may be able to call it, but because his body, the receiver's body, is between the official and the defender, Howard gets away with. If you saw those hands, they were down low on the hip. That's the best way to move someone out of the way, is on their hips.
Well, if you're an optimist, North Carolina is back within a field goal, a touchdown, and a 2-point conversion. So for them, a 2-point or a 2-possession ball game, but they've got to find a way to stop Baylor.
I'm sure you don't sneak it onside here. Okay, maybe not.
Now kick it out of bounds here. Jefferson has 259 the team, 535 rushing. That's right, rushing. Stunning. Chafin going to add to that total, picks up 6 more. Good stop by M.J. Stewart. Solid tackle on the outside. Wouldn't let Chafin get any more.
Well, watch the left guard. This is Blake Blackmar, redshirt freshman who's been playing a ton. Just drives the nose guard Thomason completely out of the way, and that's what we've been seeing all night. Blackmar, a young man who's been playing quite a bit as a redshirt freshman. Pat Colbert, the tackle, has been out with a shoulder injury, so some of these younger guys getting some run. But Blackmar is a guy who they expect big things out of. And the ability and linemen that Baylor have been able to start getting. You knew when Art Briles got to Baylor from Houston, they were going to be able to throw it and get some good skill players. But he's starting to build offensive linemen that go play in the NFL. 6 of the last drafts have had 6 Baylor offensive linemen in it.
Well, there'll be another one this year with Durango. He is the real deal. End of the 3rd quarter. It's a 2-possession game in Orlando. Fireworks, the Magic Kingdom, as you look at the score by quarter. You're right. We're not at the 4th quarter yet.
438 yards of total offense combined in the 3rd quarter.
3rd quarter. Jeez.
And we need to start looking up the rushing record for a bowl game. There is no way that we're going to get. I think we're going to get to 600 yards rushing for Baylor. That's just
Williams across the 40, about a yard shy of a first down. I don't know that anybody's rushed for 600 anywhere.
And this is against a defense that had huge improvement over last year. Was solid, but we mentioned that Nas Jones, their best defensive tackle, out from the start with a concussion, and they just haven't had the depth to rotate bodies in.
And for one of the few times North Carolina able to step up and limit a short game, but it's still a first down.
For Gene Chizik, who was out of the game for 2 years, probably wondering why he came back now, although he's had just an amazing year. He did say when August camp rolled around, he thought for a moment, what am I doing? Of course, he's paid a bunch of money when he was fired at Auburn, and he was doing well in the TV business. Didn't need to do it, didn't need the job.
Johnson with a run.
But Penning, the tight end, originally from the state of Michigan. He went to junior college there. They canceled the football program. He went out to California, played 1 year junior college there. 6'5", 250 senior, runs and catches well. And Art Briles thinks when the NFL teams come in and start testing our seniors, he thinks Penning's going to grade out very well and get a shot.
Jefferson again lowers his shoulder, very close to a first down.
And you can tell Baylor, they are almost always super fast. They average over 80 plays a game. But you can tell that they're starting to slow down, let 10, 15 more seconds go off the clock. They're owning the line of scrimmage, so they don't have to go fast. And that was play number 84. And I've been watching Justin Thomason, a 300-pound nose guard. I have not seen on meaningful downs, I have not seen number 98 not in the game. So you think that guy has defended close to 80 plays and how tired he has to be.
Jefferson now is up to 269 yards as Terrence Williams moves over for Hawthorne, and Hawthorne on the keeper. Links Hawthorne inside the 5, fighting for extra yards to the 1. 6 feet, 205.
And there is just no energy left. Just no energy. That's Thomason there getting wrapped up by Blackmar. Blackmar looks like a pretty good lineman. He's a guy who's playing quite a bit more as the season wore on, but it looks like he might be the real deal.
And it's Terrence Williams, touchdown Baylor. Boy, they just keep coming. And you got to feel for the Tar Heels. The spirit is there, but they're shot.
Yeah, Jeff Schottmer, the middle linebacker, just doesn't have enough to make the tackle. Let's watch Spencer Drango, though. He came up a little gimpy after the end of that. He's the fine left tackle, but I'd be surprised if we don't start seeing some fresh bodies, new numbers coming in there on offense next time Baylor gets the ball.
Baylor has now rushed for an astounding 597 yards. 597. But there's the trophy for the winner here in the Russell Athletic Bowl. Right now, you've got to say Baylor has a big edge.
Well, but the good news for both of these teams, as we know from last year's Russell Athletic Bowl, Clemson and Oklahoma played in that game. And after you play in the Russell Athletic, you're guaranteed to get into the college football playoff the next year. That's a deal.
Is that?
Yeah, the
I
Russell Athletic Bowl. Well, it's one of the deals they set up when they got this game.
Okay. Marquise Williams continuing to throw. That got that one to Quinshot Davis. Gain of 19. Davis with a highly decorated career, rewrote the receiving record books at North Carolina. 3-man rush.
You're talking about
completes it to his running back Elijah Hood.
You're talking about Quinshot Davis. Last year in the bowl game against Rutgers, Davis went up to catch a touchdown pass and broke his leg. Ended up having a stress fracture in the other leg. So he's a guy playing with 2 rods, 1 in each leg.
Williams really showing a lot of guts, fighting to the end here. Gets what he can, taken out of bounds at the 30.
Well, Williams is the senior, and I've been talking about the backup Mitch Trubisky, but I get the sense that this is for Williams to be able to go out with the ball in his hands. He's had such a tremendous career.
Williams deep down the sideline, has this completed inside the 10. Damian Washington. And Larry Fedora said he has seen Marquise Williams slide once. He just won't do it. And you would think if there's any time he's going to slide, it's right now. He's half beaten to a pulp in this game.
He's had a nice game, though. Struggled a bit in the ACC championship game.
Throws over the middle into the end zone. That's a touchdown, North Carolina. They just will not quit. Singleton makes the grab and another strike from Williams.
There you are. 2:20. You get the extra point. You're down 11. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, and field goal. So this is not over. I assume that they will do an onside kick after this. But this is Singleton playing that position we saw earlier in the game. Brandon Fritz was playing, who left with a concussion, unfortunately. So nice, accurate throw into coverage. And Singleton, who's more the blocker, makes the good catch.
Where there's 2:20, there's hope. They're down by 11.
But now you're going to see the onside kick. And I promise you that no North Carolina players. It's kind of odd that he's on the hands team, but he is a fullback and a tight end.
Certainly on the all-beef team.
Yeah. But that play, that offsides is not reviewable, unfortunately, for the North Carolina fans. But the fans of the Tar Heels, the last time they had an onside kick, it didn't quite go their way because of the penalty.
They get that nice high bounce, and that ball is batted out of bounds by Baylor. You are not allowed to bat the ball.
Well, you can bat it backwards, not forwards to gain territory.
Yeah, you can bat it backwards there. You just can't bat it forward in the field of play or anywhere in the end zone.
And that's, you know, Doug, that's actually, it's interesting you say that. It's really good that Xavier Howard knew that, because I'm not sure that ball's not going to be recovered by Switzer if he doesn't knock that ball out. It was a terrific kick by Freeman Jones that jumped up, and Howard, who's a cornerback, not a receiver, so sometimes you'll see receivers on that hands team, did a wonderful job of batting it backwards, which is legal.
Johnny Jefferson back in the ball game. They fake it to him, and the keep by Lynx Hawthorne. Jefferson right now at 289 yards. A chance to get to 300 in this game, and a chance to get to 1,000 for the season if he does. That's amazing. Jefferson. 4, maybe 5.
I get a sense, Mike, someone at Baylor did realize he's close to 1,000.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's what this feels like. It feels like they want to force, of course, North Carolina to get rid of their timeout. So they've emptied the bucket of Carolina's timeouts.
He needs 5 yards now. There are probably even some Carolina fans out there that said, let him get 6 yards. Get this over with. Jefferson. No. Still going to need one more carry, at least.
When you got to, you're going for it on fourth. On a punt, there could be a block. There can be.
Oh, he has 990 yards and 298 in this game.
You got to give it to him on fourth.
Holy cow. Jefferson straight ahead. He's got 2. He did it. Are you kidding? And the fans know it. They're on their feet. His teammates know it. If they officially give him 2 yards, he's got 300 in the bowl game and 1,001 for the season. What a remarkable effort for Jefferson. And now they're saying it's 299 and 1,000. He still needs 1 more yard for a 300-yard
Yeah, but the 1,000 is the big deal. Congratulations. And Baylor doesn't even have to run any more plays if they don't want to. You got to be careful with the. Yeah, there's the kneel.
Yeah. At least they didn't let Jefferson kneel down and lose 2 yards.
That would have been something. And he has been taking the snap quite a bit. But what an amazing night. And what a cool story. Baylor comes in here without their top 2 quarterbacks, without their top receiver, without their top running back, like they had to finish the second half in the Texas game. And Johnny Jefferson comes in and goes over 1,000 for the year. What a neat story.
Yeah, all those guys, all those missing parts, and they only got 49. Just amazing.
Well, they were averaging 60 a game before
True.
Seth Russell was lost. So they have come down a tick.
So North Carolina will finish its season at 11-3. Baylor wins its 10th ball game. They came in ranked 17th in the country, even though they had lost 3 of their last 4 games. That's how much respect the committee had for Baylor's firepower. For Ed Cunningham and Dr. Jerry Punch and our entire hardworking crew, Mike Patrick saying so long from Orlando. Now we send you to Houston for the Advocare V100 Texas Bowl.